The air was thick with doubt. Every eye in the training yard was on her, whispers slicing through the tension. She'll never manage it, not her. Sweat dripped from her brow as the rifle sat untouched in her hands. Then, against all expectations, the colonel stepped forward and handed her his weapon. Silence fell. Everyone waited. Could she really pull off what no one else thought possible? The morning sun beat down mercilessly on the dusty training yard, casting long, sharp shadows over the assembled recruits. Every footstep echoed with the authority of order and discipline. Yet beneath it all, a current of skepticism ran through the air. Whispers followed her like a shadow, slicing through the hum of activity. She's too small for this. Not enough experience. No way she'll make it through today. She felt the weight of every doubtful glance, every whispered prediction of failure. Her hands, steady under normal circumstances, trembled slightly as she adjusted the strap of her uniform. Today was the test, the moment she would either prove herself or become another statistic in the long list of recruits who never quite measured up. She glanced around. Men and women, seasoned and new alike, watched her like hawks. Some leaned forward, curiosity mixed with doubt. Others smirked openly. Every movement she made seemed to be under a microscope. And there, standing apart from the rest, the colonel observed silently, his expression unreadable. She inhaled, focusing on the familiar weight of the rifle resting against the rack before her. It was hers to use today, but the weapon felt alien in her hands, heavy with expectation. The barrel glinted under the sun, a cold reminder that this was more than just a test of skill. It was a test of character, of resilience, of courage under pressure. Her mind flashed back to the long hours of preparation, drills repeated until her muscles ached, strategy memorized until it felt like instinct, the countless failures that had taught her more than any success ever could. Every misstep, every harsh word from instructors, every doubtful glance, it had all led to this moment. And yet, a part of her couldn't shake the feeling that no amount of practice could quiet the whispers now. Then she caught sight of the colonel again. Unlike the others, he didn't sneer. He didn't whisper. His gaze was steady, almost measuring, as if weighing not just her skill, but her resolve. That single, silent look sent a shiver down her spine. He was a man who had seen failure and triumph in equal measure, a man whose judgment carried the weight of experience. And if he thought she could do it, maybe, just maybe, she could silence every doubter. She squared her shoulders, gripping the rifle with renewed determination. This was more than a test. It was a proving ground, not just for her skills, but for her very identity. Every doubt cast her way became fuel, igniting a quiet fire she refused to let extinguish. The whispers of others became a distant murmur, replaced by the steady rhythm of her heartbeat, counting down the seconds to the moment she would take a shot. The air in the training yard grew heavier, thick with anticipation. Every recruit had frozen, sensing the quiet shift in the atmosphere. Conversations halted mid-sentence. Eyes tracked the colonel as he moved with deliberate purpose toward her. His boots struck the ground with a firmness that demanded attention, each step echoing like a drumbeat in her chest. Whispers turned into stunned silence. The colonel, a man known for his strict standards and unwavering expectations, rarely intervened in such direct ways. And yet, here he was, walking straight toward her, rifle in hand. She could feel the collective gaze of her peers, a mix of disbelief and curiosity, burning into her back. They had expected hesitation, a moment of faltering. Instead, they were about to witness something entirely different. He stopped just a few feet away, his posture rigid but composed. The rifle gleamed in the sunlight, a symbol of authority, skill, and trust. He regarded her with an intensity that made her knees feel almost unsteady. No words were spoken at first, only a measured silence that seemed to stretch endlessly. She knew what this gesture meant. For the colonel to hand over his personal weapon was not just rare, it was unprecedented. It was a declaration of faith, a test of courage, and a silent acknowledgement that he saw potential where others saw doubt. Her pulse quickened. Could she truly live up to this moment? Every muscle in her body tensed with a mixture of fear and resolve. She had trained for countless hours, had faced scrutiny and derision from her peers, yet nothing had prepared her for the weight of this gaze, the weight of this rifle, and the magnitude of what was about to unfold. The colonel extended the rifle toward her. Time seemed to slow. Fingers brushed against cold metal. She felt the weight of history and responsibility in her hands, the culmination of all her preparation concentrated in this single, decisive moment. Around her, the other recruits shifted, some leaning in, others stepping back, all captivated by the rare spectacle of a leader putting absolute trust in a single individual. "Your move," the colonel finally said, his voice calm but commanding. No smirk. No doubt. Only the challenge. She nodded subtly, acknowledging both the responsibility and the silent faith he had placed in her. Her mind raced, reviewing every lesson, every drill, every strategy she had painstakingly learned. This was her chance not only to demonstrate skill but to redefine expectations, not just for herself, but for everyone watching. As she positioned herself, adjusting her stance and centering her breath, a quiet shift occurred among the onlookers. The earlier skepticism had not entirely vanished, but curiosity had begun to replace it. Heads tilted, eyes widened, and even the harshest critics could not deny the intensity emanating from her focus. Something extraordinary was about to happen, and everyone knew it. She took a slow, steadying breath, feeling the weight of the rifle settle into her hands as if it were an extension of herself. The training yard, once a blur of doubtful faces and murmured critiques, now seemed to fade into the background. All that existed was the target, the rifle, and the beating of her own heart. Her mind went through the motions she had drilled 1,000 times. Grip, stance, sight alignment, trigger control. Each step flowed naturally, honed through sweat, repetition, and countless early mornings. Yet today was different. Today carried an intensity that no drill could replicate, a tangible pressure, heavy enough to make her question herself, yet exhilarating enough to sharpen every sense. The first shot rang out, crisp and precise, and a ripple of disbelief spread through the crowd. Heads turned instinctively toward the target. Bullseye. A murmur ran through the ranks, a mixture of surprise and cautious admiration. She didn't allow herself a smile. She couldn't. Not yet. Every shot demanded focus, and even a fraction of distraction could undo all her effort. She adjusted her stance, recalibrated her aim, and fired again. Another perfect hit. The tension in the yard shifted palpably. The whispers of doubt began to quiet, replaced by a charged silence heavy with awe. Eyes that had once scanned her with skepticism now watched intently, trying to decipher how she managed to defy every expectation. Some recruits exchanged glances, disbelief mirrored in their expressions. Others clenched their jaws, pride battling envy as the reality of her skill sank in. The colonel observed quietly from a few steps away, his face betraying nothing. Yet there was a subtle nod, almost imperceptible, an acknowledgement of what she had accomplished. She could feel the shift in the air, from doubt to respect, from hesitation to astonishment. It was not just her marksmanship on display, it was her resolve, her calm under pressure, her unwavering focus that made the difference. As she continued, every shot a testament to hours of practice and an unshakable determination, the murmurs of the crowd turned into outright acknowledgement. The impossible was unfolding before them. She had taken the rifle in hand, faced the doubt of everyone around her, and was proving, with each precise shot, that she was more than capable, perhaps even exceptional. By the time she completed the sequence, silence enveloped the yard. The tension had not dissipated. It had transformed into something heavier, more profound. Eyes lingered on her with newfound respect, some wide with awe, others narrowing as they re-evaluated every preconception they had held. The whispers were gone. Only the echo of her achievement remained, leaving a lasting impression that no one would forget. In that moment, standing tall with the colonel's rifle in her hands, she had done more than demonstrate skill. She had challenged expectations, redefined possibility, and earned a quiet, powerful recognition from those who had doubted her most. The test was far from over, but she had taken the first, monumental step toward victory.